Hey everyone, welcome back to another tax show for people who owe. I'm Dave.
And I'm Phil.
And today we're going to talk about a big number that IRS recently gave us about refunds going bye-bye. Phil, what was that number?
$1.5 billion.
That's quite a bit of dollars, even more than the lottery that's out there right now. So Phil, why are those refunds going bye-bye?
They're going bye-bye because, as with all things, maybe except for gift cards, there's a time where those things expire. And so in case of refunds, you have 3 years to claim any refunds as a result of filing your tax return.
So 3 years to claim the refunds back from the IRS?
Correct.
Refunds you're potentially eligible for.
Right. And this is money that you paid. This is coming out of your pocket in the form of your withholdings or estimated tax payments.
Could be a credit as well.
Exactly.
Okay, so I thought it'd be important because this is a tax show for people who owe, like many of us here, many of our customers. So it's also important to cover how long the IRS has to collect from customers or taxpayers who owe. Right. So maybe a little skewed on the teeter-totter here. So Phil, let's talk about that. How long does the IRS have to collect? We know we have 3 years to claim a refund as a taxpayer. How long can the IRS come after us?
Great question, Dave. And it's much more than 3 years. It's actually 10 years.
10 years? That teeter-totter's one end and the other.
Yep.
Okay, so 3 years for you to claim, but 10 years for them to claim from you? Seems a little unfair, Phil.
Just a little bit.
Okay, so it's important, I think, we go back to the beginning. When does the date start? When does the clock start on that 3 years or 10 years?
So for the 3-year refund time frame, it starts when the tax return is due. Typically April 15th, but every year varies. So you're gonna have to look at what year is in jeopardy.
Okay, so this year we're in tax filing year of 2023. So we gotta go back 3 years?
Correct, and that'll take us to 2022, which puts the 2019 tax return in question.
All right, so we covered when the time starts for refunds. When does the time start for collections? When does that clock start?
Great question. This one really depends because unlike a due date of a return, which is pretty consistent every year, the clock for collection starts when you file the return, or in some cases where the IRS files for you.
Right, so something has to trigger the clock, some action,
right?
And that action is filing.
Exactly.
By the IRS or by yourself.
Exactly.
Can anyone else file on your behalf?
Hopefully not, otherwise we have a case of ID theft.
Great point. Watch our prior episode on scams on that note. Okay, so now we're aware of the refund deadline and the collection deadline, how long they have to collect. Are there any other deadlines we should be aware of? This is the IRS.
Just another one. And that one is the assessment statute, or the time to assess new tax liabilities on already filed returns, David.
Sounds confusing. Of course, that's a lawyer speaking. That means I file the return and the IRS can revisit the return. How long do they have to do that?
Normally 3 years, but there's always an asterisk, as you know. If you underreport your income by more than 25%, they have 6 years to audit your tax return. And in cases of fraud, it's actually unlimited.
Unlimited. I know that might be frustrating for taxpayers to hear, but that's why we have tax professionals like Phil here at Optima to help unpack the situation. So if you are wondering about a tax debt, if it's valid or not, if you are concerned about an audit for a filed return, reach out to Optima. We'll investigate it and see what risk you're at for audit, and also evaluate you for the C-sets, which means when the tax debt expires. Any last parting words for us, Phil?
As usual, do something, especially if you're unsure which deadline applies to you. We're here to help.
Thanks again, guys. That's the deadline for the show. I appreciate you all tuning in. We'll see you next time. Hey everyone, thank you for watching today. Please be sure to like
and subscribe
so you're up to date with all the information you need when you're taking on the IRS.
And as always, do something.